when it comes to enablement, the large enterprise has its challenges with getting people ramped up, keeping them sharp as well. What about smaller companies? What challenges do they face in this area of getting their sellers to be able to perform to their potential?
Yeah, I think some of the key challenges overall that smaller companies experience are targeting, not knowing their targets at all. They probably do not have a lot of documentation or sales content around. They probably don't have a lot of services, a lot of solution options to offer, but it's primarily very basic and very foundational. Is some of the challenge, like how to level up, for example. Since we're talking about not knowing your targets, you have a contact. He or she could be a CEO or that you're selling, or he or she could be an IT person or a data person, like more like a mid level leadership. You don't know who's a decision maker. You are just going by the contacts that came your way, and you're trying to sell. So we probably don't know, and this is just based on feedback that I've gotten from my sellers, that we don't know how to up level the game, with regards to the feature functionality, or with regards to the language that we should be using. It's always been hard to have that impactful conversation when you are kind of moving up and down in the in your in the decision making ladder. So I think that's the major challenge. And we all know that there's no content, there's no document, there's nothing available for most of the smaller companies. And also, people are not really data driven, and they're not looking really for data. But it's probably, if we could help them with just basic plays, sales plays, and we could help them with basic ways of targeting or engagement, I think that's good enough for smaller companies.
Yeah, yeah. These companies, I mean, across the board, they hire a sales athlete, somebody who knows sales, but they get to the company, and so I think what you're saying is that these smaller companies, they've got the athlete now, but what they don't have is a well defined program or process or content enablement to help ensure their success. And
Right.
so,
And that's part of growing. That's part of scaling. So that's understood. But I guess the most important area that I would probably want to stress on is, how do we help them with basic engagement methodology, or more structured sales plays, more structured messaging, what messaging at what point of the sequence, like help build that sequence, and what messaging to go at what point of time. Like they need like those basics before even we go further down into, I mean, we were talking about having tons of inventory and not knowing which one to pick up. I think in case of smaller companies, that's not the area that we're talking about. It's basically, how do we coach them into building basic plays? What kind of messaging that is involved in at different point of time, and different what in your outreach approach.
yeah, so it doesn't. Yeah, so the smaller the sales teams at the smaller companies aren't going to be overwhelmed with content,
Yeah,
but we've got to give them better guidance than we have in the past,
yeah.
and even a well structured, thought out sales play is going to move the needle a lot for them.
Absolutely.